Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel Code for Tech Solutions. Today in this video we are going to cover very interesting topic, and our today's topic is how to implement Flask authentication and authorization with JWT and secure our Flask API. We are also going to learn how to secure our Flask application with robust authentication and authorization using JSON Web Tokens. In this, we will cover the basics of setting up a secure Flask API, handling user logins, generating JWTs, and using those tokens for authentication and access control. We are also going to implement role-based authorization to access protected resources for specific roles only. By the end of this video, you will have a solid understanding of how to implement authentication authorization for our Flask app using JWT tokens. Now these are some prerequisites which we are going to install, like we are going to use Python and Flask, which is a web framework to implement our web application. Flask RESTful we are going to use, which is an extension to build our REST APIs. Flask SQL Alchemy, it's an extension or ORM to interact with our database, and MySQL, it's a database driver to connect with our MySQL database, and Flask JWT extended we can use to create our JWT tokens. Now this is about all the prerequisites we are going to use. Now here we are going to create some different resources, like home is a resource which is accessible to all the members irrespective of whether they have token or not. So it is basically accessible to all members. Next, to register a new member, we can use this register endpoint through which we can register our new member along with the credentials like username and password. Next, we can log in to our application using the existing member along using the credentials like username and password. Now to register a user, we can use username, password and role, and to log in the user we can use username and password. Now we have member resource which will be accessible by with the JWT tokens and with member roles only. Okay, and we have admin resource which will be accessible with the JWT token and admin roles only. So these are all various resources we are going to create and implement, and we are also going to test with various combinations, like we are going to register a new member, log in with that, generate a token, and with that token we can access the member resource as well as we are trying to access the admin, and how it will get failed with the member token while accessing the admin token. That scenario we are also going to cover, and with admin token how we can access the member resource as well as admin resource we are going to see. So all these things we are going to cover in this video. I will request you all, so please do not miss any step in between. If you are finding this video useful, give it a big like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more. Now let us create our backend application using Flask. We can open the command prompt, and from here we can use this code space dot to open our VS Code editor. Now this is our Visual Studio Code editor. Now first thing we can do, we can create our virtual environment. For that we can use this command python-m. This is the command, and here we can give our virtual environment name. Now we can see our virtual environment folder is created with subfolders like include, lib and script. What all libraries we install, that will go inside this lib folder. Now once virtual environment is created, we need to activate that. So let us go to our virtual environment folder. Inside scripts we can use this activate. Now you can see it is activated and virtual environment prompt is appearing at here. Now next thing we can do, like we need to install the libraries. For that we can use this command pip install. First we can install Flask, which is a framework we can use for Python web development. Next we are going to use Flask RESTful. This is again a Python extension which will help, which is best for building REST APIs quickly and efficiently, and it also provides functionalities like routing, request passing, and there are many other functionalities we can make use of. Next we are going to use Flask SQL alchemy. So with this, this is again we can say it's again Flask extension that provides tools and methods to interact with our database. Next, for JWT token, we can use this Flask JWT extended. It will help us to create our JWT token or access token extended. Next, we are going to use our database driver, which is a MySQL, through which we are going to connect with our database, MySQL database. Next thing, we are going to use this library. This library will help us to uh, uh, to create password hashing, like to create generate the hash password or to check for the stored hashed password. So for that reason we are going to use this library. So these are all required libraries we need to install in one go. Now till the time it installs, let us create one database. Or yes, we can see all these library, it will get installed inside this lib folder. Now once it is installed, we can check by using piplist command as well. Now we can use this piplist command to check what all things are installed. So these are the libraries we have just installed. Now let us create the database part first, or before we create a database part, let us create our requirement.txt file. So we can use this command like pip freeze, and we can create this txt file. It will collect all the libraries inside this text file, so that if you want to recreate these dependency in another system or for another for creating the same project, so we can use this library. And if you want to create the library same dependencies or packages, if you want to install, you can use this command, and here you can use this file as is, so that it will recreate or regenerate or reinstall all the library for us. Now next thing, let us create our database part. So for that we can open the exam control panel, and you can start the Apache server first, next MySQL server, and you once it is in ready mode or it has started this server, we can click on this admin button. It will open the PHP MyAdmin. You can either use PHP MyAdmin or MySQL Workbench. Any either will do fine. Now we can create a database by clicking this new button, and here we can name our database, like let's say it's a member underscore master. We can create. Now we can see our database is created successfully. Now we are not going to create a table because we are going to create a model, and once we run our application, the table will get created automatically for us. Now next thing, we can define the structure for our project. We can create one app.python file. This is the main file. Next we are going to create one more file for database configuration. So this is the config.py. Next we are going to create one like we can use git ignore file. So inside that we can add what all things we want to exclude, like virtual environment is not needed, so we can use this. So whenever we want to commit our code changes to some uh, like version control system, like we have GitHub, so if you want to exclude some folders which is not needed to be committed, we can mention it here inside this git ignore. Now this is the project folder structure, project structure. Now we can first do our database configuration stuff. For that, like we can first import our OS. So this is the package OS which is helpful. Like it will with this it will make functions, OS related functions available for us. Now here we can configure our MySQL DB. First we can use MySQL underscore host, and here we can use it's a local host. We can copy this line and we need to add, like, first is a host, next we want to add user, and whatever user you have set you need to add it here. Next we are going to use password. You can use your password it here. Next we are going to use port, and we can say 3307. If you want to cross check the port, you can use check MySQL port, which is 3307. And next we are going to use the database, and our database is a member underscore master. So this is the database we have just created. Finally we can use MySQL underscore cursor class, and for this we can use our like dictionary, and for this we can set the dictionary cursor. By default it is using the tuples, so we can change that to dictionary cursor. So finally we can add our Flask configurations, and here we can use our secret key which is needed. Here we can use our OS dot, we can generate some random number. Now this OS module in Python allows us to interact with operating system and perform various operations like file handling, environment variable management, and process control kind of. So with this we are done with our database configuration part, MySQL database configuration. Now we can use this configuration in our actual application. Now first we can import from Flask, and here we are going to use Flask. Next request and JSONify. Next we are going to use Flask RESTful, and we are going to import a resource. Next API. So we are going to import from the security package. So from this JWT packet we are going to use JWT manager, JWT required, and this is the identity. And from this security package we are going to use check password hash and generate password hash. Next from Here from JWT we need to add one more import, like which is we need access token, so we can use create access token. Now this much is enough. We can import now config for in which we have set the database configuration. Now we can create our app constant, and here we are going to use this Flask, and here we can add name. Next thing, like we can create one API, and here inside API we can add our application, and next we can create one constant for JWT, and we can use JWT manager, and we can pass our application to this. Now this is about our application and API JWT. Next we need to configure our database. Now here we can use app.config, and here we can use it's a SQL alchemy, and here we can use it's a database URI we need to prepare, and here we can use prepare this by concatenating the string. It's MySQL plus it's a driver MySQL colon, and here we can use config dot user, we can use config dot password @ config dot we can use host, and after that colon we can add config dot port. Next we can add config dot our database, which is a MySQL DB we need to add. So this is the complete database URI we have prepared. Next we can use app.config, and here we can use this SQL alchemy track modifications as a false. Next we can add app.config, here we can add JWT secret key, and we need to mention this, like here we can mention some secret key, let's say it's a secret 123, and we can change this for production. We can give some complex secret key for production. So this is about application configuration. Now we can define one database, and here we can, this is the database constant, and here we can pass our app. That's it about the database and all. This is the configuration of our MySQL we are done with. Now next thing what we can do, we need to define a model. So let us do that. For model we can create one class, and here is our class name, it's a member, and we can use it's a db.model. Now here we can mention what all properties we are going to use, like db.column we can use, and here we can use db.integer primary key as a true. So this is for ID. Similar way we can create for, let's say, for username, and here we can say, here we can use string, and we can pass some length, and here we can say like nullable is equal to false. And now next thing we can add password, and here for username we can say it should be unique, which is a true. For password again we need to add unique as a true and nullable as a false. And here password, when we generate the hashed password and store in database, it will generate a long string. So to hold that long string we can use this 500 length. Finally we can use one role. So here we can use role for storing the role, and here we can use 100 length, and here unique is not needed, nullable is equal to false. That's it. Now this much attributes or properties is enough. Next thing, like we can define one set password method, and we can pass self object and we can say password. And we can use this generate hash password hash, and we can pass this password. Now similar way we can use one more method we can create, like this is for check password, and for that here we can use, instead of generate, this is the check password. And to check password, here we need to add our uh, hashed password. So for that we can use like self dot password, and next this is the string password we are passing. This is the hashed password and this is string password, and we can save it. Now finally we can create like to create tables. To create table we can use this like with like app dot, we can use app contest, and here we can use db dot this create all method, which will create table respect to table as per the model. Now we can save it. So we are done with our member model. Now let us focus on creating the resources. So let us do that. Like what we are going to do, like we are going to show the home we are going to create home, like register, login, and all these resources we are going to create. So this is the home resource, which is accessible to all irrespective of whether the user or member has a token or valid credentials or not. We are going to allow to access this home resource, and here we can pass this resource, and we can define some get method, and here is our self object, and here we can return some message, and here we can say welcome to home page, and we can return some status code as a 200 successful. Now this is for the home resource, we can save it. Similar way we can create our register resource, like we can say this is for registry member, and here we can modify it, like we can say member register, and here we can use post because we are going to register it, and we can remove this part for now. Now here we can capture the data from the request, and we can use get JSON. Now we can use like if this is our member dot, we can use this query and we can say we can use this filter by method, and we can use username. So same username is equal to, we can use data, so username, and here we can call first. Now it's a if member dot query dot filter by, this is the username is equal to, we can say data, and this is the username, and we are accessing first on that. Now here we can use return, so we can copy this and we can say member already exist. Like we are going to check for the username. If username is already there, that means the member is already exist. Now here we can set the proper code like 400. Now next thing, if the member is not existed, we need to first create the hashed password for that, and here we can use like generate hashed password, and here we can pass our data and what password we are getting from the request, we can pass it here. Next we need to capture role data, and here we can say if role is there, then we can use that role data, or else we can set member as a role data. By default we can set member, default is member role. If we have given the role, specific role, then it will take that one, or else it will set uh, member as a default role. Now next thing, we can create one new member. Now here for new member we can create member, and here we can use username. Next for password we can use this hashed password. Next for role we can use this role. Next we can use db.session, and here we can use this add method to add our new member. Finally we need to commit the changes so that it will permanently get added. Next we can return some message, like we can copy this, and we are going to return the message like member added successfully. So this is the message we are going to return, and here for creating a new member we can use this 201 code, which is appropriate for that one. So this is for member registering. Now similar way we can use, so we can remove this home. Okay, similar way we can create a login. So let us copy this much part, and here we can say it's for login member. Now we can copy this much part. Now here we can define one member constant which will hold this data. Next we are going to check like for password validation, like we can see is valid, and here we can use check password hash. Inside this we can add our like member dot password, and here we are going to pass the whatever password we receive from the request data. Now this is the hashed password, and this is the password string which we have received from our request. Now next thing, like we can check if we have valid member existed, and if we have valid password, then we are going to allow to create access token. And here we can use this create access token. For that we can use identity as a, and let's say here we can pass string, and here we can use member.id. So this will create the access token for this member.id. Finally we are going to return some message. Let us copy some message, and here we can say this is the access token, and here we can say we can pass this access token, and for status code we can use 200. In case if it is not valid, in that case we can set some message like and here we can set invalid credentials, and code we can use 401. Now this is for member login we are done with. Now next thing, let us create some like member resource and admin resource. Now before we go ahead, let us test this and then we can use check. Now for this, first we can make sure that we have saved everything. We can save this, and this is the application. Now we can use python app.py command to run this. Now before we run this, actually so let me cancel this. We need to add the routes to our resources, so let us do that. We can say add routes to API. So here we can use app dot we can use API dot add resource, and here we can first add our home resource. For that we can set path like home is a route. For this it will route to home resource for this path. Similar way we can define two more. One is for a register, member register, and here we can use a register, and other is for member login, which will generate the access token for us, and the endpoint is login, and we can save it. Now after this we can use like if name is equal to, we can add double underscore after or before main, and here we can say app.run, and here we can use debug mode as a true. Make sure you are not using debug as a true in production environment. If you are using development, then you can use this, and we can save it. Now let us run our application and check these many resources how it goes. We can use app.py. Now our application is running fine. Now let us copy this URL and open our Postman, and this is the first URL we can check for home, which is accessible to all. It should not require any token and all. So let us see. Now seems good, it is showing welcome to home page. That means our home resource is working fine. Now we can use a register resource to register the new member. For that we can use the post method, and here we need to add some body for that. Now here first we can add, let us copy some resource. Okay, so let us add a username. Let's say for username we can add Sandeep, and for password we can add Sandeep123, and we can add some role. If we have not given any role, it will use member as a default, as we said like that. And let's say it's a member, or first we can try with just these two so that it will take the default role. Okay, member added successfully. Now let us check into our database. So this is our member master, and this is the member table. Now we can see one entry is successfully added with role member. Now let us add one more role, and here one more entry with role, like let's say here we can use admin, and we can use username as a, let's say it's a Kiran. We can add Kiran123, and this is the admin role we are going to add. Now this is added successfully. Now we can see we have two roles, one is a member, next is the admin. Now let us check by calling the now this is for register. This resource is working fine for register. Similar way we can check for our login method. Now this is the post method we can use, and same URL we can copy, and instead of register we can use like login, and here we can use JSON, and here we can use like username and password. For login purpose we just need this much, which is enough. Now let us see how it works. Seems good, it has generated the access token successfully. Now with the help of this access token we can access the protected resources. Now let us create some protected resource. Now this much is working fine. Now let us create our resource. Now here we can create for one class for, let's say, member resource. So this is the member login. for member login, and this is the member resource. Like it will allow all the roles which has member role, and here we can add resource. Now we are going to use, like we require JWT. We can use this. Next, like we can define one get method, and here can use this cell, and we can use like current user. This is the for getting the current identity of the user. Next, we can use like to get the member for this ID. We can use like it's a member dot. We can use query dot get, and here we can pass this current user ID. Now we got the member. Now we can simply return some message. Now we can copy this, and here we can use the message. We can use hello user, and here like we can use member dot username, and here we can give some valid code, like this is the 200. Now it is printing this message along with this username, hello member we can say, and this is the member name. So this is for member resource which will require the JWT token. If we do not provide JWT token, it will not access this member resource. Now similar way, let us create one admin resource. Now let us copy it, and here we can say admin resource. This is the admin resource which will require JWT. Now here again, like we need to create one now here this is the definition, and we are getting the member. Now admin resource will require the admin role to be there to access this admin resource. Okay, now like for member we just require the JWT token, that is enough but for this it should need JWT token as well as the role as admin. So for that we need to create one function, like let's say we can define one function. We can say it's a role based access decorator we are going to create. We can define one method, let's say role required. We can pass the role it here. We can define some wrapper, and here we can pass function. Now here we can use this like wraps, and we can add function. Now to add the import for this wraps, we can add this. Now here we can define one function for this, and we can use decorated. We can say view, and we can use orgs, and next keyword argument. That's it. Now here we can use for this like get JWT identity. Next, like we are going to get some result For that we can use, like, this is our member dot, we can use query dot all, we can call, this is the all method. uh, so not all, we need to get only particular based on the id. We can use get, and we can add this id at here. What id we receive it here, that we are passing it here. So we got the result. Now we can check if result is not there, in that case, or result dot role is not equal to role which we have passed, that is the admin role. If that is not equal to there, then we are going to return some message. We can say access denied, and here is the code we can add. Next, if everything is fine, then we are going to return some proper message, like arguments, and we are going to pass this keyword aux. Finally, we are going to return decorated view, and we are going to return the wrapper. That's it, and we can save this. Now basically this function will check, this is the annotation we have created, like this will check, like if we have admin role, we can pass the admin role it here. If it has that role, then only it will allow to access that resource. So basically this functionality will do that. Now let us add this annotation, like a role required, and here we can pass what role we need to access the admin resource, that is admin role we require. Now here we can check we have received a member. Now we can return the message, like we can copy this and we can say hello admin, because this is the admin, this is the username, and that's it, and we can save it. Now we have everything ready, like we have admin resource as well as we have member resource. Now let us add the routing for these two. We can copy this, and here now we can copy the admin, like first we can copy the member resource it here, and here we can use, this is for member, and for admin we can use this, and here we can use admin. Now for member we require JWT access token, whereas for admin we require JWT access token plus admin role. You can save it. Now let us check for these two functionalities, like let us open the like postman, and here we can copy this. Now let us regenerate our token. Now Kiran, let us check in database what role it has. Now Kiran has admin and Sandeep has member. Now let us first check for Sandeep. So this is for Kiran. Let us add Sandeep, and make sure you are passing the same password, or else it will not create the access token. First we require the access token to either to access the member or the admin resource. So we need this access token. Now let us open here we can use get, and here we can first add the bearer, use bearer token, and here we can add that access token which we have just copied. Now we can prepare the URL. This is for member resource, so we can add it at here, and we can use member. Now this is the member endpoint we are using, and this is the access token which we have generated with the login of this Sandeep 123, which is a member. Okay, now it should access this member URL because we have passed access token. We can use this raw JSON and hit the send button. Seems good. Now it is showing hello member, and this is the username for the member, which is a Sandeep. Seems good. Now our member is working fine. Now if we try to access the admin by using this member token, it will not generate. It will not access the admin resource. Access denied, because to access the admin resource we require admin token. So let us generate the admin token. Now here we have Kiran as admin. Now let us use Kiran username and password to generate the access token. It will generate the admin access token because Kiran is admin. Now we can use this access token, and here to first we can get the member with this. Let us check how it goes. Here we need to change the access token. Now surely it will access the member because it is admin access token. Now let us access the admin token. It should work for the admin resource as well because it's a admin access token. Seems good. Now it is showing hello admin Kiran. That means it is working for admin resource as well. So with this we are done with all our authentication authorization using Flask framework, and we have successfully tested all these resources which are required for the authentication and authorization. I hope you must have enjoyed this, and please do not forget to subscribe, like and share. Thank you so much for watching this.